Hello everybody, my name is Petr Koutny and today I'm going to show 3 games of Magnus Carlsen, 3 lost games of Magnus Carlsen coming from World Blitz Championship Tournament 2021, and the first surprise, first shock and first loss is here. White is Bartosz Socko, black is Magnus Carlsen, and of course Magnus Carlsen is playing for win, even he got black pieces, but this will be the first shock to him. Of course, we know that Magnus Carlsen is going to lose this game, so we should say that this is not the best day of Magnus Carlsen's chess career. Watch this position. This light squares diagonal will be one of the most important diagonal here, and just remember this diagonal. In future, you will understand why Magnus Carlsen will face his problems. So we are still in the theory, and even white is a little bit better, space advantage, better pieces, and I think more activity. And black is not too much worse. He is worse, but because he's black, he's still okay. Queen to c2, and Magnus Carlsen right now believe that this is the best time to exchange this light squares bishop. Magnus Carlsen should be right in case he believed that white's king will be weak without light squares bishop, and I agree that this position is a little bit weakened. At least light squares are weak, but you need to attack these light squares, and it's difficult to imagine that black's army will be attack white's king, because seems to me that black's army is too far from white's king and the fight will be on the right side of the chessboard. So check, and both players need to bring all their pieces to game. We are watching blitz games, and in blitz games it's important to play with all pieces, to be fast and to not make a blunder, and that's exactly what's going on here. So rook to d1, h6, and both players are bringing the rest of army to game. And now the best move here is bishop to f8. Just to be ready to attack d4 pawn, to be ready to be attack, to find a counterplay in the center, and to play position like Magnus Carlsen. But it's hard to find this move. Nobody's interested to play such a passive move in a blitz game. In blitz game you are playing fast chess. So Magnus Carlsen played rook to c8, and this was a mistake, and this is a surprise mistake. You could ask yourself, how is possible that this move is a mistake? Just imagine that you are playing normal move. You love to play move c5, and you played mistake. And Socko played queen to b3, and this is nice. At first, he is going to attack b4 bishop. The second, watch black's queen on b7, because this is a pinned queen. Yes, of course, there is a pawn on b6, but that's not too big difficulties to attack black's queen. So, okay, what to play? For example, bishop to f8. Right now, it's maybe losing again because of knight on a5. As I told you, this queen is pinned. Okay, maybe queen to e4 and knight to c6 is a fork. Black is losing at least pawn, but I think that this knight on c6 is a winning knight, and looks like maybe black will lose 2 pawns, and of course this position is gone. So Magnus Carlsen need to fight, and he is fighting with move a5. Unfortunately, still doesn't help at all because a3, and yes, one more time, bishop to f8 is losing pawn, and it's losing this square, and this square is much more important than pawn, and because of this knight, I'm sure that Magnus Carlsen is lost here, and maybe he know that now he is facing difficulties, so he need to be fast, and he need to play the best moves at all. He played move b5, and okay, white took on d7, and he took on b4. Now Magnus Carlsen has only the last chance. He need to play knight to f6 and hope that this position will hold. But he's playing move a4, and he believes that this pawn on a4 is not for free because of this fork and knight on b6. Yes, of course, this pawn is for free, and I hope you see the answer. So white will take on a4, black will go knight to b6, and he will attack rook and queen in the same time. But one more time, I hope you remember this diagonal, because this diagonal, light squares diagonal, is the most important diagonal here, and white took, and Magnus missed this answer. So again, black's queen on b7 is weak, and in case black is going to exchange queens, it's game over. So black need to survive in this position with queens, and White's plan is simple plan. White is going to exchange the queens and he is going to play endgame. So of course we need to see lots of more moves, but the plan what White is playing is simple. White is going to exchange these queens, and maybe this move is the best one, of course, because of this b4, one day b5, 6, 7, 8 pawn. White is winning without any difficulties, but this is a blitz game, and White took on c7, so maybe this position is unclear and should be played one more time for both sides, because too many pins. For example, this bishop is pinned, this queen is pinned, and this rook is pinned. So maybe this was the last chance of Magnus Carlsen, and he missed this chance, because after this maybe a blunder, Magnus took on e4, but at the end he's down piece, and of course nothing to do because too many threats and too many pins, so one check. At the end it's Magnus Carlsen one piece down, and we should be faster. This is not true interesting position, because we are going to watch two more games. So what we saw, first game we saw mistakes of Magnus Carlsen, we saw blunders, and we saw blitz game, that in the blitz game it's a difficult job to beat anybody in the world, because there is not such a big difference in the blitz game between Magnus Carlsen and another top GMs. Second game, Magnus Carlsen as a white and Vladimir Fedosev as a black, and this is a second surprise and a second shock to Magnus Carlsen, because okay, if you are losing with black pieces, doesn't matter, but if you are white, you are playing for win, and Magnus Carlsen will make another blunder. So we are still in theory, nothing terrible, and queen to d7. It's a nice trick, because here is a check, here is a pawn on d4, is a check, and of course because of this pin. So looks like Magnus Carlsen has problems with pins. Okay, maybe not now, because he moved queen to c2, h6, b6, and a short castle, rook to c1. Okay, we are still watching, nothing terrible, I think normal position. Magnus Carlsen is going back to this pin, and this is a surprise, because he was standing on a4 before, and now he's coming back, and he believed that he is attacking c6 knight, and he has time to go knight to e5. Okay, rook to c8 and rook to c2. Too many threats, maybe the pin on c6 and maybe the weak pawn on c7. It's a target to Magnus Carlsen's attack, but g5 is a surprise, and this is a nice move. Okay, maybe bishop to e3 is a move f5, and Magnus Carlsen is under pressure, and this is interesting. It's hard to push Magnus Carlsen under pressure, and he should be under pressure, but that's only variation. Let's come back, because Magnus Carlsen played bishop to d2 and knight to e5. Okay, that's nice. So no pin, and just some exchange. Magnus is taking on d7, he's taking on d7 back, and rook to c1. White is in better position, and I think that this endgame is exactly what is looking Magnus Carlsen to play, because slight edge, he got target, he's attacking on c7. Why not to play this position for win, and why not to believe that Magnus Carlsen will win this game, in case he will not make a blunder. And we are watching blitz game, so in blitz game everything is possible, and after move c5, Magnus is playing blunder f3. So second blunder and second lost game. Immediately here, this game is gone. And why? Better is to take on c5, and maybe this variation, I think that's still a huge advantage. Maybe much more bigger than before, because two bishops, weak pawn on b6, weak pawn on d5, weak pawn on h6 one day, another weak pawn. Maybe this position is hard to save for black. But Magnus Carlsen, played move f3. This is a double mistake, because black took on d2 and c4, and even Magnus is not losing anything. These pawns are strong: b5, b4, c3, and just go on. And maybe black should have a huge advantage of these pawns. So hard position e4, of course. Magnus Carlsen is going to strike in the center, and knight to f6. It's a slow. b5 is much more stronger. If you have pawn majorities, just go on and push these pawns, and this is your winning plan. Yes, of course, we are watching blitz games, and in blitz games everybody is making mistakes and blunder, but at least we should learn something from these games. And pawn majorities, it's a strong weapon. It's a strong plan. So knight to f6 was a little bit slow, but okay, we are going e5, knight to e8, and knight to g7. Nice. This knight is going to sit on e6, and this knight is going to block this important pawn. In case black is going to block this pawn, white's counterplay is blocked, is stopped, and then black will have time to push his pawns like b5, b4, and let's go on. So I think that this position, it's a nice position to black. He is out of danger, and he got a simple plan: just push his pawns. Okay, rook to d8, f5, h5, h4, g4. So it's going to be blocked this side of the chessboard, and everything important should be played on the left side of the chessboard. Yes, still in the air is moves like b4, c3, and let's go on. So rook to f2, and Magnus Carlsen maybe should play move f6, and now knight to f5. Yes, maybe this position is double edge, and maybe here black should be worried. But Magnus Carlsen is not playing his best chess, and he played rook to f2, b4, f6, knight to f5, and what's going on. In case black's pawns are going and going, black is winning. So knight to d6, another nice move what was missed. And Magnus Carlsen, is going to miss another nice variation. So maybe he was in shock after first loss, and he is not playing like Magnus Carlsen. This position, Magnus Carlsen is usually winning. Now he's going to miss these chances, and he played the knight to e7. Okay, what's the difference? That pawn on d4 is under attack. So white need to be a little bit more passive, and black is going to take this knight. So maybe surprise, maybe not, but these pawns b4 and c4 is a huge compensation for this exchange. So rook to f1, and white is playing in difficulties. It's hard to see any counterplay, and even white is up of material, he's down of counterplay. And counterplay is much more important in blitz game than in the normal game, because I think that counterplay is nearly pawn. If you are in the attack in a blitz game, you have chance to win the game. It's hard to imagine that without counterplay you are going to win a blitz game. So of course both players need to be fast, and this position is hard to play for white. Even just imagine that you are playing this position against strong GM, and even you have more material. Tell me where you will place your pieces if you are white. It's a difficult job for white to find the right squares, the right piece placement, where to place your piece and to be active. And looks like, looks like that just black is waiting for this knight, and in case black knight will jump somewhere inside of white's territory, this game is gone. And bishop to g2. Now it will be everything fast. Check on h6, and the winning move is c3, of course, here, because it's hard to take this pawn because of this rook, and this was a first blunder, but Magnus Carlsen is going to play another blunder. Yes, looks like this knight on f5 is nice knight, but it's not, because of move c3, and at the end, two pawns are winning pawns. Yes, just watch this variation, what's going on. I think that check, take, and of course that's game over. That's nearly checkmate. I hope it's a checkmate. So, c3, and that's gone. Okay, Magnus Carlsen is playing for chance, but here there is no chance. And we saw that Magnus Carlsen is going to lose for second time, and for second time we saw blunders, and Magnus Carlsen is not making blunders, so that's a surprise. And that's the last game. Magnus Carlsen is a black and Shaki Mamedyarov is a white, so Magnus Carlsen lost 2 games, and yes, maybe he is a little bit nervous. Both players are playing opening unusual. f6 is unusual move, and e5. I think e4 is a threat, so e4 is the right answer here, and knight to c6. Yes, okay, why not? Short castle, maybe it's a good idea to take on d5, and yes, of course, here to take this pawn back is a mistake because of this pin. And we saw 3 games and 3 pins, and maybe if you are looking to play good blitz games, maybe believe in pin, because pins are a strong weapon in blitz games, and you can see that everything is possible. So short castle, bishop to e6 and a3. Still, this is not the best answer. The best should be to take here and maybe queen to e2. I think that white is standing with advantage and black is a little bit worse. How much? I don't know. This is a blitz game and both players are super strong players, but I like white's position more than black's one. a3, okay. And now finally black took on e4 and bishop to e7. Yes, so what do you think about this position? It's absolutely a huge position for both players, because it's open position and both players are playing for win. Magnus Carlsen need to beat Shakar Mamedyarov, but it's not standing better and his king is still in the center, so we need to go for short castle immediately. He doesn't have time to lose any more moves and to stay in the center, because in blitz game it's danger to stay in the center by your king, and b4 it's nice, and rook to e1. Short castle looks like better option. Say this variation, what do you think? It's a pawn, but it's a pawn and it's another material. So blitz game is full of tricks and you need to be strong in tactics to play blitz games like Mamedyarov. So rook to d7, h3, knight to d4. Still I am worried of black's king in the center, and don't stay in the center too long if you are playing blitz game. And of course, never ever stay with your king in the center if you are playing against Shaki Mamedyarov. This is a deadly combination. So white took on d4 and giving to e3 is a mistake to take on b7. I think that black is nearly winning because of 2 bishops and I think open position and activity. I'm sure that activity is much more important in blitz game than in the normal games, but I'm sure that if you are playing blitz game you need to be active. So this position it's not nice, and queen to e3, short castle finally. bishop to g3 and b6. Bishop to d3 and f4. And you know, this is unpleasant. Another pin and another threat, and you know, every problem in the blitz game, it's your time, and time is important. So now Magnus Carlsen need to think how to solve this problem, because f4 move looks like a really strong move. What do you think? Okay, rook to d8, take f5, so it's only pawn, but that's not only pawn, because rook to d1, yes, maybe it's interesting to take on d4, but maybe it's not simply clear this position if white is winning or no. So why to play this position if you are not sure? And Shak played rook to d1, g6 is another blunder. So not the best day of Magnus Carlsen, and another blunder. Yes, what to play here? Maybe rook to d7. Yes, white is better, but still both players are playing and time is important. Unfortunately to Magnus, he played move g6 and bishop to b5, game over. Okay, what to do? Yes, of course, just to take here, white is winning. So Magnus Carlsen, no, he's losing. He lost everything because he lost exchange and pawn, and another pin, e6, and I'm sure that unfortunately black's king is a weak king, and it's not everything about material, it's about tactic. So dark square's diagonal is here, is a check, is another pin, and that's a piece. So Magnus Carlsen lost for 3 times for the first time, and it was interesting that it was not the best game of Magnus Carlsen, and it was not best day of Magnus Carlsen. He was making blunders, and you know, maybe he will play stronger next time. Everybody's making mistake, even Magnus Carlsen, it's not a computer. So blitz games are an interesting part of chess, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We saw 3 games of Magnus Carlsen, and we saw lots of blunders of Magnus Carlsen. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for every likes and follows, and I hope I will see you soon in our another YouTube video. Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.